high ankle sprain. But that isn't stopping him from bragging about his incredible leg physique. Have you been seeing this online? This is actually amazing. Quote, tweeting this video of some students leg fighting, saying, I think I'd be pretty decent at this game. I loved it. I watched this like 4 or 5 times.
I don't think I get my leg that straight or that high in the air.
This is the game for you.
No. That's the point I'm making.
CC would be very good at this. Just your flexibility is amazing, and your strength to go along with it.
Yeah, this is just Jenna's way of trying to get us to do something in the office so she can flip one of us off the 22nd floor.
And then show it the next day.
Yeah, that's all this is. That's all this is. This is something I would be really, really good at.
Listen.
I've been running. I've upped my fitness. I changed. Not doing as much CrossFit now. Now I'm running like half marathons, Nick. She break Nick's leg.
I get no credit for taking the attention off me and giving it to the most athletic person on the desk.
Ooh.
No, I get killed when it's the other way, but I gave it to you.
Yeah, but because Chris saw through that and saw what was going. Now, I do want to tell you what was just said in my ear.
What?
Our statistician, Dusty, said, and I quote, I would whoop Jenna in that. Now,
you?
Dusty...
Oh, it's on.
Dusty weighs like 18 pounds. He runs on batteries. Dusty. Oh, my God.
Jenna has had some of her worst, best lines in the history of the show. She said he runs on batteries, even in a tone like it was written by a bad sitcom.
I'm going to take it from the bottom. Take it from the bottom. Take it from the south. Give it to the north.
That was yesterday. Well, Ulysses S. Grant line that made
Those were yesterday's strokes. These are today's strokes.
Oh, my God.
You think a no-brainer? What about a brainer?
She said that.
I'm
not making it up, Coach.
At 3 a.m.
That was said.
All right, Coach, let's talk some Dallas Cowboys.
After checking the tooth fairy at 1.
Oh, my God.
How did you hear that story? Cowboys are up to a blazing 3-0 start with perhaps their biggest test to date coming Sunday night when they face the Saints, a Saints team that looked strong in last week's win over the Seahawks in Seattle. Jerry Jones said yesterday that they're not taking New Orleans lightly, even without their future Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees. Coach, what challenges do the Saints present the Cowboys without Brees, with Teddy Bridgewater in there?
First of all, I love the fact that Jerry Jones is taking this approach, and Cleveland should probably take note. The idea of lowering expectations, the idea of taking every opponent as seriously as possible, that's exactly the approach that you should have. And New Orleans can create a lot of problems, and it all starts with Alvin Kamara. He is special in a lot of different ways, whether he's hurting you with inside runs, outside runs in the passing game, the things that he creates because of the way that you have to game plan for him, what that opens up for Teddy Bridgewater. It's stopping him first and foremost, and then making Teddy Bridgewater be patient and beat you. Make him win the game. I was really impressed by New Orleans, the fact that they were on the road for the second week on the West Coast. There's no Drew Brees, so that voice that's been at practice for every year after year, game after game, he's not there, so it's Teddy Bridgewater's voice. Him supporting Teddy the way he did, saying just go get completions, and then the team responding the way they did in a really tough environment. To me, that's the exciting part about this game, is the way that the Saints have rallied behind Teddy Bridgewater and behind their season to step up the way they did.
Jerry also, I thought, gave great insight. He saw New Orleans steal a game last week, and it takes a veteran team to be able to do that. With a veteran quarterback, they came together. Special teams, defense, and the offense did just enough. And that offense, as you talked about, it starts with the mayor, Alvin Kamara. You have to be able to double team him, keep the ball out of his hands, and when he runs the ball between the tackles, we've had special running backs that were 3-down backs. I mean, that were only 3rd-down backs. His availability to play on 1st and 2nd down, which he didn't even do in college. That's the reason why he wasn't as high a draft pick. He wasn't a frontline player at the University of Tennessee. That's why he left the University of Alabama, because he couldn't be a frontline player. But his ability to play 1st and 2nd down, run between the tackles, and as a small guy, be able to break as many tackles. So that's where the problem starts. Now, Teddy Bridgewater, what I want to do is, if I was doing this game as a commentator, I would put a clock on Teddy Bridgewater every time he goes back to pass. And the longer he's got the ball, the better off for the Cowboys. Last week's game, they were throwing it sideways, getting the ball out of his hand. I want him to hold the ball, and I want to take away his first read, and then I want to depend on his lack of arm strength to force the ball deep down the field. That's what I would do if I was Dallas. Well, they know that Seattle team, last week, to steal that win up there, they know that the Saints are well coached. They won 24 games the last 2 years. And a good team can't go. I mean, a bad team can't go to Seattle and be able to win the way the Saints did. So that's why Jerry and this Cowboys outfit have a lot of respect for this game this week.
And the Saints did the win in Seattle. It was a perfect, I imagine you loved it, because it was a total team victory. Punt return touchdown, defensive touchdown. Right before the half, when Seattle's trying to hang on, Kamara breaks he should have been tackled 3 times on that play down the sideline. Those are backbreakers where you're like, we think we can hold them to 0. Maybe they'll get 3. All of a sudden they get a touchdown before the half. And now Seattle's playing the way they never want to play, which is where they have to throw the football repeatedly. Even if maybe they should play that way more often, they don't like playing that style. For New Orleans, I'm looking at this, though, on the other side of the football, their opportunities, which is Dallas has played the Giants, Washington, Miami. Those teams have a few things in common. One is they're not very good, any of them, but most notably, none of them have pass rush. The Giants traded away their defense. Miami doesn't have a defense. Washington hasn't been able to find a pass rush seemingly since Brian Orakpo was there. So the Saints defense hasn't been great this year, but it's got a pass rush. It's got your former teammate's son, Cam Jordan. It's got the Marcus Davenport kid. They traded 2 first-round picks to move up and get a couple years ago. They top 10 in the NFL in sacks. How will Dak look with a rush in his face for the first time all year? If the Saints are going to get this win, the formula to me is relatively simple. It is, yes, Kamara plays well, Bridgewater doesn't make mistakes, but in the first true hostile environment that Dak will have played in all year, because about half that Washington crowd was Dallas fans, it's loud crowd noise, pressure in your face, getting knocked to the ground, and getting the Cowboys off schedule where they can't just lean on Zeke. That's how the Saints do it, because they're not going to ask Teddy to throw the ball downfield. He didn't throw a single pass more than 15 yards in the air in that win against Seattle.
No, because of that pass rush, I'm just wondering if there's more of an emphasis placed on Ezekiel Elliott. Maybe he gets to shoulder more of the load, unleash him, which we haven't seen the full Ezekiel Elliott package yet so far this season. Is this the game that we maybe get a chance to do that?
I think it's probably the game that you should do it. The one place they can hurt you is with the pass rush, and they haven't been great stopping the run. So if you give them a healthy dose of Zeke and then mix in the passes or go to it later, they're going to be on their heels, and that's the best thing you can do. When you look at the game against Miami, it seemed like they played down to the competition, which is probably why Jerry's stressing so much what a big threat this is, even without Drew Brees. And the reason that I respect Alvin Kamara so much is, and backs that can still be productive and explosive and dynamic when everybody in the stadium knows that everything is designed to stop you. To me, those are special backs. Barry Sanders was like that. Everything was designed to stop him, but he still was going to have explosive plays. And when you see a guy like Le'Veon Bell, that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting to see that same thing. So it's got to be stop Kamara and give him a healthy dose of Zeke.
One thing that makes this Cowboys team special is maybe there is no difference, though, now, Jenna, with Zeke with a heavy workload. And with Zeke, we don't need to work him. With Dak throwing the ball, spreading the ball around to the wide receivers, I think in year number 4, what we've seen, and we understand the lack of respect for the competition. But Dak has been a different quarterback. So I don't believe that they need for Zeke to dominate just to be able to win. I believe they have balance. But going against the Saints, Zeke should have a big day with that running style that he has.
All right. Coach, did you have fun?
Oh, it was a blast.
Are you back here tomorrow?
Coach, say bye to your friend. Coach, say bye to your friend.
Tweety Bird?
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing.
Coming up, is Tom Brady still the best quarterback in the league next? First things first.
Thank you, Coach.